In this video, we're gonna set up a form in Microsoft Word and then make it accessible in Adobe Acrobat Pro DC. This video is sponsored by Doc Access. Welcome to the Accessibility Guide channel. My name is Sean Jordison, and let's jump into the ring. All right, first things first, we're going to set up our Microsoft Word document to be a form that we know we're gonna take over to Adobe PDF. Now, there are some things to consider with Microsoft Word. We actually can't make forms accessible in the native Microsoft editor here. We have special tools like on the developer tab where we could add checkboxes and text fields, but they're just not accessible to a screen reader. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set up this Word document to be accessible in PDF. And we're gonna make just a very simple document here. We're gonna call this a feedback form, and I'm going to make it a heading level 1. And you should know, this whole process, I'm also going to be making this Word document accessible. All right, let's do a space, and then we can do name, colon, and what I like to do is I like to create an underline. So I'm going to do Control U to turn on the underline, and then I'm going to use the tab feature to give a blank space in the document for where my name can go. Let's go ahead and create another one for email. And let's do the same thing, Control U, and we're gonna do some tab spaces to get these lines all pretty. Now, the reason we're adding the underlines is because when we take this over to PDF, we can run the auto add form feature in Acrobat, and it's going to place a form field right on top of this underline. That is the main reason we're setting it up this way. And then let's go ahead and enter a question. We can say, how satisfied are you with the training or service? If we wanted, we can make this a heading level 2, and then let's say very satisfied or very unsatisfied. Now, there's a couple of ways we can build in our content here. We could do the underline thing where we turn on the underline and do manual spacing to get where we're gonna put the checkbox. But let's go ahead and play with the developer option. So I'm going to select the developer button, and then we have this ability to add a checkbox parent control. Let's move on to very unsatisfied and do the same thing. Now, right now, this is gonna be selectable in Microsoft Word. Now, it's not accessible, but it is selectable. And let's add just a little bit of manual spacing in here. And all this checkbox is going to serve is a placeholder for where our checkbox can be placed when we take it over to Adobe Acrobat Pro. Now, if we wanted to add some additional things, we could do like radio button options. So this is part of our design, right? So we could have option 1, and I'm gonna do the tab key. We'll do option 2, tab key, option 3, tab key, option 4. So those are gonna be our options for radio buttons. We could do an option for a drop down menu item. And obviously this is just dummy information, but we're trying to make our document accessible as we go too. And we'll say, please make your selection. And I'm just gonna put a colon here, and we can do the underline thing and do some tabs because this is where our drop down menu item is going to go. And then if we wanted to, we could also add a signature field. We'll make that a heading level 2, and then we'll say signature goes right here with a colon. And we could even do an underline as well. So this is like a very rudimentary form. And we used a couple of options for our developer design tools. But again, these are not accessible. So just be wary of using them in Microsoft Word. And really what I wanted to show is how they can be used over in PDF. So let's save our file. And then we're gonna convert it over to PDF. Let's select File, Save As, and we're gonna change the drop-down menu from Word document over to PDF and select Save. This feels like a great moment to talk about today's sponsor, Doc Access by Streamline. Doc Access has the ability to instantly convert all of your PDFs to accessible HTML in just minutes. They can handle hundreds of thousands of pages at once, and I wanna just show you exactly what the product looks like. So I have a sample document that has math in it in what's called our print-friendly view right now. So this is what my default PDF looks like, but we're viewing it in the Doc Access view. With a single click of a button, I could turn on the accessible transcript view. and this will automatically convert it to accessible HTML. We have a document outline that we can follow, which takes all of the heading structure in this document and presents it in an easy to follow way over on the right-hand side. Now, what's crazy about this is if you work in math, this math is actually entered as MathML and is totally accessible. I could launch my screen reader right now and navigate this document perfectly by following the heading structure, integrating with the math, and it also provides us a built-in automatic alternate text for every image in this document. It's absolutely fantastic. And more than that, we have a free built-in disability assistance with Ira. So you can connect with a visual interpreter for free for 30 minutes on any document, and a live person will help you with the content of this file. You can also download the original PDF and you can translate it into like over 100 languages. It's absolutely phenomenal. If you want to try out Doc Access for yourself, there's a link in the description to set up a free demo with yours truly, and I'll show you the ins and outs of this tool. Now, with that said, let's get back to the video. All right, I'm going to find my PDF, and we now have our document here, and I'm going to open up the tags panel, and we have a good first start. We have name, email, we have our H2, we have our boxes, we have H2, we have our radio button options, and all of our content is in here. Now, I don't love that there is extra spacing on my name, email, and stuff like that. So I'm gonna take care of this right now. Let's open up the Prepare for Accessibility button, select Fix Reading Order. I just wanna like separate some of that blank space. So with text, I'm going to grab these boxes. We'll have it separated here. And all I'm doing is the ones with the underlines, I'm just grabbing the text and marking it text paragraph, and it's gonna separate all the blank spaces out for me. So I can actually come back through the tags panel now and find the blank spaces using my mouse, using my keyboard, and I'm just expanding the blank tag areas, and I'm going to artifact all of that. So I can select all of these blank container elements, and we're going to right click them and select change tag to artifact. We'll leave it as page and select OK. And then we can come back through and actually delete those tags out of the tags panel. All right, now we need to make this form a fillable form. So let's do that now. This is the method I like to use. We're gonna select prepare a form from the tools menu. We're gonna select this file right here. This is the one that we have open, and we wanna make sure auto detect form field is set to on. And then we're gonna select create form. It's gonna prompt us to save the file, and it attempted to add in all of our content here. Now, in some cases, it appears that it automatically adds all of the object references in this file, but this isn't always the case. So we're just gonna let those be right now. Let's actually give them a home. I'm gonna right click my tags panel, select new tag, and we're just gonna type forms placeholder. And then we're gonna take all of these object references and we're gonna place them in that forms placeholder because we're not all the way done yet. Looks like our document is misbehaving a little bit. I'm gonna save the file real quick because I could tell it's acting a little buggy. Let's go back into all tools. We're gonna select prepare a form. Now we have a few things in here. So we've got name, email, we've got our two checkboxes. We can tell they're checkboxes. We have another text box, and the signature field was accurately picked up. But here's the thing. I don't love the way these checkboxes look. So I want to edit them. I'm going to make them a little bit larger so that they cover the full space of that square. And then what we can do is select both of those boxes. We're going to right click it, and we want to set field to same size and set to both. And that made the other checkbox just as large. Now I could select that other checkbox and now use my arrow keys to get it centered with the checkbox just like the one above it. Now earlier we talked about adding radio buttons. So I want to manually add in these radio buttons. I'm going to select the radio button feature, and we're gonna just drop each one of these right to the left of each of our options. So we're gonna do option 1, and then I'm going to select option 2, option 3, and option 4. And hopefully that doesn't mess anything up. Let's open up the tags panel. So again, we have all of our other placeholders here, but not our radio button options. So we need to tag those. With our forms placeholder tag selected, let's select the options button, and let's select find. And we're going to try to find all of our unmarked annotations. We're gonna search the page, and it found our radio button group 1. let's tag that element. We're gonna tag it again, and tag it again. So we've got all 4 options there tagged. So we now have our form fields tagged. That's great. Now we need to actually put them into the right location. So in our name field and email field, actually all the fields, we need to create a form parent element. So to do that, I'm going to right click the name label here. We're going to do new tag and just type the word form. And then in my forms placeholder, I'm going to find the name object reference and drag it in to that location. So now this form field is totally accurate. We have a P tag, we have our label name, and then we have our form tag with the object reference for that form. Next, let's do it for email. Right click, new tag, form. Let's move our email object reference in there and let's keep going. We've got very satisfied and very unsatisfied. Same idea, right click, new tag form, right click, new tag form, and we just need to move these options to the right location. Now I am clicking and dragging, but you could right click and cut and paste as child. It just depends on how you want to move about. Let's keep going. Now we've got our radio button options. Now we may need to separate these options out. So right now they're all as a single tag. For now, let's go ahead and group them all together. I'm gonna just move them into that location. I forgot to create a form tag, but I think that they need to be set up a specific way. Let's come back to that in just a minute. Let's make sure we have the rest of our content. Please make your selection. Oh, this was supposed to be a drop-down menu item. So let's go back to all tools. We're gonna do prepare a form, and we need to change this form field. So I'm actually going to delete it, and we're gonna add in a drop-down list instead. And then we need to make it a little bit larger. I accidentally clicked out of the prepare form. Let's make it larger. And now we have that same problem where it's not gonna be tagged. So I'm gonna select my forms placeholder. We're gonna go to the options button. We're gonna select find, unmarked annotations, search page, and here's the dropdown, tag element, perfect. Okay, so now we need to go put it in the right home, which is please make your selection. We're gonna right click, do a new form parent tag, and move that object reference for the drop-down menu into the form placeholder. Next, we have the signature field. And because this is our very last form, we could actually update the parent tag and just call it a form and move it as a child to our parent P tag of that selection. So let's go ahead and split up our radio button text here. I need to go back to prepare for accessibility, fix reading order, and I'm actually gonna deselect show page content groups because it's cluttering up my view. And I'm gonna select each one of these options. Options 1, we're gonna mark it text paragraph. Option 2, text paragraph. Now the reason I'm doing this is because it's going to separate this content in the tags panel. Text paragraph, option 4, text paragraph. Now let's go back to the tags panel, and those selections should all be different, and they are. And then we have all the form fields in there. So we need to do the same thing for all these options. All right, let's make sure that all of these have the parent form field. We're gonna right click each option and do new tag, and we're just gonna put that form parent element in each one of these P tags. Now I know it seems silly, but it does have to be done this way or else you're gonna get flags later on. All right, so let's move each one of these options to the correct home. This is option 3, this one's option 2, this one's option 1. All right, now we could delete that other tag. Now let's look at setting the tooltips of the radio buttons. So radio buttons are a little fun. Let's do prepare form, and we have our group 1 radio buttons, choice 4, choice 3, choice 2, choice 1. We could rename these. We could say option 1. This one can be option 2. This one can be option 3. And the last one, option 4. Now what we're going to do is right click one of them and select properties. And we need to enter a tooltip. So because I don't have like an actual question here, we might say like, how satisfied are you with this amazing YouTube video? And that will be the tooltip for everyone. So if I right click option 4 and select properties, that is also the tooltip. So for the group, they have the same tooltip, but in the options, this is where we have the radio button choice. So this is where you actually update the choices. You could say, 10, and then let's go to option 3, right click it, select properties, radio button choice. This could be 8. And now I'm doing just a random number scale. Right click option 2. This one will be 4. Oh, and that does appear to change the name of it as well. Let's right click option 1 and we'll say 1 and select close. So now that is set up accessibly. Now something else we need to do for our drop down menu is right click and select properties, and we'll say please make your selection. And under options, we have the ability to add our items. So we can say amazing, we could say not amazing, we could add choice 3. You could really put whatever you want in here and select add. We could also allow the user to enter custom text and select close. Let's get out of the prepare form option. And now we have these drop down menu items in here that we can choose from. We've got our H1 tag. Let's go to the top. I just want to make sure everything is in here. So for form fields, we want to tag them. We want to move them to the right location. We want to test with our keyboard. So that's going to be the next step. Let's test this with our keyboard. We're going to do Sean. We can do Sean email. Perfect. And I'm using my keyboard. Our checkboxes work. We have our radio button options. Let me go back to my keyboard. Now to move radio button options, you use your keyboard to make your selection. We have our drop down menu where we can choose the different options. And then we have our signature field where we can choose to either lock the document or not. It's really your preference. Let's go ahead and run the built-in accessibility checker by selecting all tools, prepare for accessibility, and we'll do check for accessibility and select start checking. We've got a character encoding problem. Those are those checkboxes I did in the document. So when we came from Word and we used those developer checkbox areas, it creates a little object behind the checkbox. This is the one downside to using it. So we actually need to go in and delete it. So I'm going to come in here and try to delete that checkbox. There we go. I think it let me do it. Perfect, it did. Now I gotta try to get those boxes to line up. I'm very satisfied. It's not quite letting me delete it. So that is the downside to using the developer checkboxes. Let's go ahead and right click and tell it to check again. And apparently that was able to fix it. Now here's the downside. Because I edited that tag, it's probably gone now. Yeah, so unfortunately our content got messed up. But we can fix that. I'm gonna go into my tags panel. We're gonna select very satisfied and we'll go to the options button and do create tag from selection. And now we need to do the same thing, very unsatisfied, and create tag from selection. Now it appears that it's grabbing words from the other one. So this is all messed up now. I don't want to completely derail the video though because of that, but just know that developer checkbox could cause some trouble whenever we take it over into PDF. All right, let's go ahead and save the file. Let's run the accessibility checker once again. It actually looks pretty good. We need to set the metadata for our file. We'll just do feedback form for now. Select OK. Now let's launch the Pack 2024 tool and actually test this file. So I'm going to drag my file in there. And really, I'm looking at the accessibility for the form. Oh, and check it out. It passes perfectly. So even though our tags are kind of messed up on these P tags over here, the document still passes. So that's why we can't rely on the accessibility checkers. But to fix this, I'm going to have to probably re-export the document. So it's kind of a critical failure that this is happening here. That concludes today's video on how to set up a form in Microsoft Word, convert it over to an accessible PDF, and make it a fillable, accessible form. If you want to find out how I can help you get accessible, book a session with me right now. I can also show you a demo of today's sponsor, Doc Access, by scheduling that session with me. And as always, I could be your champion for inclusion. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.